Jesus, he is a big one. From the 2007 Transformers movie, this is the leader class Megatron, and he is colossal, positively enormous. Here, I want a good size comparison. So, here's Voyager class Shockwave. Voyager class Shockwave barely comes up to his knee. I don't understand how this guy got to be so incredibly big. You can see here in the front a lot of great looking paint. Now, you can push this down. There should be lights and sounds, unfortunately, burnt out on my copy. Love the box design still. Just one of my favorite box designs in any line ever. Here on the back you can see we got a rocket claw. We can press the button for lights and sounds. Cybertronian jet mode. Leader class Optimus also available. Oh, wow, he has better stats than Optimus. So he has 10 strength, 10 intelligence, 10 speed, 10 endurance, 10 rank, 9 courage, 10 fire blast, and 9 skill. Oh, God. So this is a super conversion, which is to say he would have been the most complicated class of Transformer of the time. And now, let's read it here. Frozen in Antarctic ice for hundreds of years, Megatron is finally free, and his might will make the Earth quake and the stars fall from the sky. As one of the most dangerous Transformers ever to stalk the galaxy, he has known no weakness and only one purpose: to capture the Allspark and rule the universe. Nothing, neither human enemies or his ancient enemy, Optimus Prime, can stand in his way. I love it. Good bio. And I'm really excited. This is yet another figure I wanted when I was a kid so badly, and now I can't believe I finally get to open it up. Well, I got Megatron, and he's pretty incredible. We're going to get into it in a minute, but boom! We have another booklet! Now, this was a Wave 1 leader, so it makes sense that he also would have included this. Let's see what we got here. Voyager class Optimus and leader class Optimus, Voyager class Ratchet. That Ratchet's still a good toy. I've actually messed with that one before. Whoa! I remember the Transformers game. No, what was really cool is, at least with Bumblebee, you could just straight up destroy the city. It was sick. The DS game was also very good. There's that voice changer helmet again. Oh, we got some new stuff. So, Cyber Blaster. You got the original Bumblebee. I remember Optimus Prime. That was a pretty good one. You got the Cyber Slammer Bumblebee. Robot Heroes. Robot Heroes were the coolest. I love them. And then you got, it looks like Rock'em Sock'em Transformers. Pretty cool. You also got all these other lines also available. Titanium, Super Soaker, Tiger, and Tactics. It's on the backside. Okay, on the backside, it's more just like kind of general stuff. Looks like you got like an Optimus Prime video game there, maybe. School supplies, books. I had that Meet the Autobots book. We got party supplies, watches, shoes, shirts. Look at that. Man, if one of my boyfriends ever had that, I would have married him on the spot. Jesus, that would have been great. Backpacks and then hats. Oh man, that hat's so terrible and dumb. I wish I could have it. Amazing. But alright. The booklets are always some of my favorite things to go over. But now, let's actually talk about the toy. The only question is, with a guy like this, where do you even start? What about that head sculpt? Looks like a demon. Look at him with his flared nostrils, his knife teeth, his big red eyes. It's a great head sculpt. I'm afraid it can't actually articulate. It doesn't swivel or have a ball joint or anything, but in terms of capturing that head design from the first movie, this is just an incredible job. Then again, if you're willing to mistransform him a little bit, he does have a very awkward neck joint, but it does allow you to get some more dynamic poses. This guy's filled with such great articulation that the addition of that head joint, even if it is a little bit strange, really does help. And again, the size of this guy. I mean, pairing him up with my other movie Decepticons, no wonder he's the boss. He looks more like a combiner in scale than just a normal leader class figure. I feel like I am not properly conveying how big this guy is. Give me just one sec. So, here's Grimlock, one of the largest leader class molds you can get right now. Doesn't even come up to Megatron's shoulder. And Megatron's also far wider, has more pieces. it's just night and day. Megatron's closer to Commander class, and honestly, he's a little bit taller than Skylynx, and he might be taller than Jetfire. I say might because Jetfire's in a big display right now, and I don't want to get him down, but it really is a massive toy. Keep in mind, this Megatron goes for about $70 nowadays, which isn't bad, considering leaders are usually around 70, commanders are around 100, and this guy's bigger than both of those classes. I mean, the kid in me sees the play scenario I would have started. The kid in me immediately sees the play scenario I would have put Megatron in. My Autobots would have defeated all the Decepticons, there are more of them, the Decepticons are smaller, and right when it seems like everything is going to go the good guy's way, boom! Out of nowhere, Megatron shows up. He literally starts stepping on his own guys just to get to the Autobots. He'd be throwing Bumblebee around like he was a toy. He'd hunch all the way down just to look Optimus in the eye, monologue about how big and evil he is. But because he's so low, that's when Cliffjumper can jump out of the way and be like, ah! And then Megatron would throw Cliffjumper, but now he's hurt, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's walking around like a big old dummy. He falls on Brawl, and that's when Optimus is like, yeah, and then he just bang bang, and then he flies away. Yay! Everybody lived! Everybody lived. Except for Brawl. Of course, the only reason he can do any of that is because of how playable he is. So, again, you're going to have to take off the head, but then you have a very weird ball joint here in the back of the neck, but it does give you a full range of motion in the head. It's just at a very awkward angle. Here, you can mistransform to get a slight butterfly joint, but you also have a universal in the shoulder with an upper arm cut and a good elbow. And then down here, you have a hinge for the wrist, and the fingers can open up to articulate. So you can get him kind of open palm tucking. You can have nothing in the waist, but you have a universal in the hip, a good upper leg cut, a good single jointed knee that goes both ways, actually. And then down here, you can hinge the toes, but they're so massive that you really don't need anything. I would have liked if maybe the heel spurs could have been a little bit larger. I think that would have helped, especially because of how much kibble this guy does have. I mean, seriously, he's like Inferno back here with this big old badunk-dunk. But aside from that, I really don't have any issues with this guy as a robot. I wish that he was better at balancing. I wish that he had better heel spurs. Those would be the big things. Because I can even deal with the weird head. I just wish that I could stand this guy straight up and he wouldn't fall over. You always kind of have to give him a hunch. Or give him kind of backwards knees to get him to stand somewhat straight up. But there's a couple more gimmicks to work with too. So for instance, you have the fusion cannon. The fusion cannon here, just like in the movie, you're going to swing these things around, and then it's together, and then it's like ba-bomb, ba-bang, wa-chow. Just big old combined fusion cannon. But there's a second gimmick here. So, fold this one back up, because this one does nothing. But this one over here, let's say that, Optimus is just over there, and Megatron's like, I gotta get him, I'm gonna launch my own hand. Bah! He does, and it's also his mace weapon. If you remember in the movie when he first breaks out of the ice, he's like, I am Megatron! He has his hand mace. They gave you that. And it can actually be swung around. It's great. Yeah, go, Megatron. Beat him. Yes. If you want to get him back to just having the normal hand, flip this up, put the cord back inside, leave enough slack so that you can get the hand back in, and then close it back up. Bada bing, bada boom. The last big gimmick to talk about is... The final big gimmick to talk about really... The final big gimmick to talk about really is if you push this button right here, then you have this, you gotta get the rest of the way up. And it does give you a power-up effect and that little noise. I do wish that the battery component on my Megatron still worked. There's supposed to be lights and sounds when that happens. That said, someone left the batteries in their Megatron, and the battery acids completely corroded it out. Even still, it's a massive Megatron with a great appearance and just a hulking scale. I love this thing. Is it the best Megatron ever? No. Is it my favorite Megatron? No. But is it going to be the centerpiece of my 07 shelf? Undoubtedly. How could it not be? So I love this guy as a robot. How is he as a jet? Well, that's the jet mode, or as close to it as I can get. Usually, when you go back in time and get the older directions, they're pretty cool. get this toy, use these directions, and you're going to say at least 4 times, what the hell are you telling me to do? That's a nonsense maneuver, by the way. It's showing me a piece that doesn't exist on the toy, even. So I don't know if, like, maybe these were using, like, older directions of an older version of the toy. That piece is supposed to go right there, I know that much. But I can't actually get it there without breaking the waist. And the direction says that there's a swivel that doesn't physically exist on this toy. The old joke about Hasbro directions, I didn't realize it was this old. The jet mode, even if it worked, it still would have been kind of crap. Like, the reason to get this guy is the robot mode. The jet mode sucks. But, this is kind of funny. That's the only reason the jet mode's kind of funny. Robot mode's great. Jet mode sucks. Megatron is a toy with a complicated history. He came from a movie that at the time was seen as brilliant, but nowadays I see as a bit of a pox on Transformers. The toy design was ridiculed at the time for being too dissimilar from what had come before, but now I quite prefer it to some of the movie designs and movie toys that came afterwards. But then there's also the fact that the robot mode, though great, is impaired with a great deal of kibble. The automorph is also eating into the budget. And when you do the transformation, it's terrible. Bad transformation, and a not too great jet mode. Now that's not on Hasbro, it's not their fault that the design is rough. They did their best, especially when you consider that the year before they did this, they were doing classics, an entirely different aesthetic, an entirely different toy and play pattern. This Megatron, for what it is still incredibly impressive. As a robot, I think he's without equal. He's going to look magnificent on any shelf. But when you actually try to engage with him as a Transformer, as opposed to a big, gimmicky action figure, that's when he stops being able to hold up to scrutiny. Personally, I recommend him for the robot mode, and only the robot mode.